Oh yeah, it's Stamplar time. Hello, 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 ladies, gentlemen, others. It's your fella Kuro here, and I hope you're having an awesome day today. Guys, today I've got for you a Stamplar build, my first build coming back, and I'm super excited to share it with you guys. I have been playing this build for a couple of weeks, and I feel very, very comfortable showing you guys what it can do. It's pretty damn tanky, it's quick, it's got a lot of damage, and most importantly, it's very, very easy to play, and it's pretty easy to get the gear for it as well. So, I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know about this build. I'm going to show you the gear, the skills, the CP, the consumables, and at the end, I'll also be giving some general tips and tricks for playing the build, which should be very helpful for anyone that is a new or returning player that just feels like they need a little bit of an extra helping hand outside of just knowing what the build is. Before we get into that though, just a quick reminder that I do stream over on Twitch, and I will be streaming this build today when this video is posted. So if you want to see it in action and have some fun with me and the boys, come on by, we'd love to have you. The link is down in the video's description and the pinned comment. Also, if you have any questions or need any help with anything ESO related, feel free to join my Discord where we have hundreds of really knowledgeable, awesome players that are going to be willing to help you guys with whatever questions you may have, and once again, we would love to have you guys come and join our little family. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this build, shall we? Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into the build. We're going to go over everything: stats, gear, skills, champion points, consumables, and then at the end we're going to have some tips and tricks, for how to play it both offensively and defensively. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to buff up the stats. Keep in mind this is not going to be as buffed as they could potentially be, but they're going to be decent. So let's go ahead and get everything here. On the front bar, as you can see, we've got about 7,400 spell damage, quite a lot. That is with our weapon damage enchant active. Your weapon damage enchant is not always going to be active, but sometimes it is. We'll also go up higher. Depending on if you have continuous or not, you can hit about 8,500 spell damage on this build. Without it, you're probably going to be at about 8,200. Still quite a lot of damage. Now our critical is not too great. We're gonna sit at 26.4%. I know that's a little stinky, a little sad, and you would probably like a little more crit, but it's plenty, I promise. 7,000 pen. We also do have major fracture, and we do a lot of physical damage, so we're gonna be applying minor fracture pretty consistently. So we're gonna be sitting at around probably what, like I think it's 15k pen most of the time. It's gonna be plenty of penetration. When it comes to our stat pools, we got 30k health, 24k stam, 14k mag. The stam, it might be a little low for some of you guys, but trust me, you don't really need much more than that. Let's go ahead and buff up our recoveries so you can see buff recoveries. Buffed recoveries, we have just about 1,600 stamina, 1,300 magicka, 1,000 health. That's not important. I'm not playing a vampire. If you want to play vampire, it's going to be even less important. But, I mean, hey, 1,000 health recovery is like 500 extra healing every 2 seconds in PvP, so hey, it is what it is. It's free, right? Our resistances, if I buff them up here, we've got 26,000 physical and spell on the back bar. On the front bar, we have 22,700. This will go up with our sets, because we do have on sets that make them go up. It's not a whole lot, but this is a build mostly focused on speed and damage, so you'll be fine. Critical resistance, we're at 1828. That's plenty in my opinion. You can get more if you want it or need it. We are all points into stamina. We are playing as an orc because I like the damage, stats, and speed that it provides. However, Imperial and Nord are also very good options. Imperial will offer you the best sustain, while Nord will be the tankiest and have a little bit of extra ultimate generation. Those are definitely both very valid ways to play it. I just like the speed and the damage, as I said. Boon, we are using the Apprentice. Just to go ahead and clarify this for anyone who doesn't already know, we are stacking spell damage on the Stamplar because it fits into the hybridization stuff that the game has done recently in this last patch. I wasn't making videos, so I haven't said that yet, but yeah, we're using spell damage. It makes sense. If you don't understand it, I'll explain it later. If you do understand it, you already know. And food, we'll talk about this later, don't worry about it. Now let's go ahead and just hop into the gear. Typical Stamplar gear, nothing crazy. We're using the Vatishran Perfected Maul. Sure, not perfected, because I'm a plebeian, I'm sorry. It's the normal one. I'm not good enough at PvE to get the perfected one. Okay, that's not true. I'm pretty decent at PvE. I've done it on Vet. I'm just lazy. Anyway, this thing's not too hard to get. Go and get it. You'll do yourself a favor by getting it. We're using a Maul sharpened for a lot of pen. We are using a weapon damage enchant because this is the only enchant that is going to offer us more damage against multiple people by increasing our stats as opposed to doing damage or applying a status effect. So that's why we are using this. If you want to duel people with this, you could run like a shock glyph or something. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do. This is the best one for me though, and it's the best one for my playstyle, so that's why we are using it. This playstyle that this build has is very kite, dump damage, heal, back to kite. That's it. It's very straightforward, very easy to play, and you will see how it all works later. If you don't know what this does, it gives us weapon and spell damage whenever we have momentum active for using stamina abilities. This will stack up to about 300, which gives us quite a bit of extra juice for our attacks and our heals, and it feels very, very nice. And it also gives us a nice big weapon, a nice big proc AoE damage thing going on here. Fully buffed, this thing sits at about 16k, I believe, not 16, 11k, I believe, which isn't like ridiculous, but it's plenty, and it definitely helps. On the back bar, we've got Clever Alchemist. We are using a defending 1H just for some extra armor, and we are using a sturdy shield to be able to block more. You could go reinforced if you don't think you're going to block a lot, and you just want that extra defense with a stamina enchant. Clever Alch, straightforward, health, weapon damage, spell damage, and then when you drink a potion you get 675 weapon and spell damage for 20 seconds. This is our big boomy damage phase. This is when you're going to want to go ahead and start knocking people's socks off. This is the time to shine. That's why we're using it. There are other good sets. You could use Rallying Cry if you want to. You could even use Olorime or Olorime or Olorime. I don't know how to pronounce it. You guys know what set I'm talking about. That would work on this even. Not the best. Those are both good options. You could even use something like Powerful Assault even for more consistent damage. I just like this because it gives me the most damage possible when I want and need it. Down here on the monster set, there are actually 3 choices for monster set. We're going to talk about them. I keep these 3 on me at all times. First and foremost, we're using Magma Incarnate. Magma is very, very balanced with what it does. It gives us sustain for both resources, and then we also get weapon spell damage and armor. So it gives us damage, sustain, and tankiness all in one set, and it helps group members if we have any group members, which is always nice. But if you are playing with friends and someone else is using Magma, you can go full damage with Balorg. This will give you the most damage you can possibly have on your everything, pretty much. You save up a couple hundred ultimate with this, dump your ult, you're going to get a lot of pen, a lot of weapon spell damage, and you're going to do just a lot of damage. I even keep this on me for solo sometimes, depending on the groups I'm fighting. If there are a lot of players that don't really know what they're doing, that are just in big numbers, and I just want to be able to mow them down, this is a great set for that. Now also, I like to keep Bloodspawn on me. This is the set that I hold on to when I know there are a lot of sweatier players, I guess, or if there are a lot of people that just really don't like me and are going to sweat me down super, super hard. This will make me tankier than Magma does with the same stam sustain, but also give me more ultimate generation by a good bit there, so I can use more sword and board ultimates to defend myself if I have to. So it's nice to have. I would recommend keeping all 3 on you, if not all 3, Balorg and Magma, and if not that, if you just want to have one, Magma. Magma is the best choice there. It's very balanced, it does everything, and it's good. So yeah, that's that. Then we've got Clever Alchemist here again with the chest. It's a heavy reinforced. Both of my Magma are heavy. I've got a mix of Sturdy and M-Pen on my other traits. I think we have 3 of each, 4 of each, something like that. I've got Sturdy here, and Sturdy here. So we got 3 Sturdy, 4 M-Pen, and that has been plenty for me. Our second set, obviously, is Deadly. It gives us weapon spell damage, critical chance, and then increases the damage of our damage over time and channeled abilities by 15%. That's our Jabs, our Dawnbreaker Dot, our caltrops, all that good stuff. And it's just very reliable. You could use other offensive sets if you want. You could front bar Rallying Cry. You could use Acuity, do whatever you want to, but for my playstyle, not having to rely on anything to proc is very nice, and it just lets me have consistent damage when I want it and when I need it. Now, this build you can run however you want with the armor weight. You could use mostly medium. You can do 6 medium if you want to. You could go 6 heavy, 1 medium. You could go 5-1-1. You could go 3-3-1. It's really up to you. The way I want to play it is 5 heavy, 2 medium, just to be a little tankier. But I don't have any heavy Clever Alchemist boots right now, so we've got 3 medium on. And it's plenty for me. You get to be nice and tanky with this, and it feels good. Really up to you, mix and match to your preference. When it comes to enchants on the armor, we are using triglyphs on the big pieces and stamglyphs on the small pieces. Now, jewelry is all deadly, all gold. You can buy it at the traders. It's not super expensive, and it's all spell damage. And the fun thing here is that it's all swift. I'm using all swift. I'm gonna burp in just a second. I can feel it. Just letting you guys know when I just blow one in your face. Oh god. I'm not okay. Anyway, I think I got it out. Swift. We're using Swift because I did not want to sacrifice bar space for mobility. Swift is going to keep us at 21% bonus movement speed at all times. We don't have to cast anything. We don't have to rely on an AoE attack hitting us. It's just going to be there. That's a little bit more than minor expedition, a little bit less than major expedition. It's a very nice in-between, and it's always there for us. If you want to pump out as much damage as possible on this build, you're going to want to use Bloodthirsty, because we are not using an execute, so getting as much weapon and spell damage on target as possible for enemies that are at lower health is going to be what really drives home the damage. If you're in a group with friends and you don't think you need this mobility to survive, definitely throw on 1, 2, 3 Bloodthirsty, up to you. It'll repair lines back, it'll kill people, it'll do its job. I like the Swift because I like to go fast. And I believe that is it for the gear. Let's talk about the skills. I'm going to start on the back bar. We've got Resolving Vigor. This is our main heal. You guys know what this does, I'm sure. Then I have Honor the Dead because of the hybridization patches or changes that happened in whatever the hell the patch was last one. We get to use this now. Fully buffed, this thing's at like an 18k tooltip, heals us more depending on how low our health is. Very nice get out of jail free card. You don't want to spam this, you only want to use this when you are at low health and you don't think you can heal through with just your hots alone. This is a last resort button, and sometimes you just gotta press it 2 or 3 times to get out of danger, and it's very nice to have. We are using Restoring Focus. This is our armor buff. This is another heal over time, and it is a sustain buff. Absolute must-have for the Stamina Templar. Then we have Extended Ritual. This is a cleanse. It gets rid of negative effects. It gives us another heal over time, and it's just all around a very useful skill. Do not use the other one. You will hate yourself if you do. You want this one. This is the one that has the heal, and this is the one that gets rid of more bad things. Then we have Living Dark. The new patch has not rolled around yet, but the heal on this is going to be lower than it is right now. They're going to cap it out at 2,000. That can be fixed and increased with CP, with percentage healing taken and done, that kind of stuff, but you're not going to be able to boost this with weapon or spell damage anymore. But it'll still be doing extra healing, which is nice, but more importantly, we are using this to get our spell damage buff from the Dawn's Wrath skill line. Here, it gives us 10% extra spell damage, and we are also really liking this because of the movement speed nerf it gives to other people, the snare that it applies to people that hit you. You stack with this with our movement speed, they hit you, it's very hard for them to keep up with you. The heal is also nice. It's not going to be as strong next patch, but it's still going to be a free heal, so we like free heals. Okay, it's not free. Okay, I lied. It's not free. It's going to be a heal, though. We like to have those. Heals are nice. It's basically like having the health recovery meta back, having this thing on. So yeah. Then for defensive ultimate, I am using Spell Wall. This is very straightforward. Makes us block everything. We can do just about whatever we want for 7 seconds. You can reflect projectiles at people. You can block things. I don't know. It's good to have. If you're low on resources, and you know you're about to get hit hard, you can pop this thing, do a couple of heavy attacks, try to move while it's still up, and there you go. If you are in a group and you want to help your friends more, you can use something like Remembrance, or hell, you could be a creature and go with Barrier. I don't know what the other one's called, Reviving Barrier or something. It's not too bad because getting the extra Magicka recovery, the extra 10% Magicka recovery for having this thing slotted on your back bar, isn't entirely useless, so definitely worth considering, but I like Spell Wall. Now onto the front bar. This is where the fun begins. I've got on Forward Momentum. I know a lot of people will use Rally, but since we can now use Honor the Dead and have a more reliable burst heal, I am using Forward Momentum. It gives us a longer uptime on the buffs than Rally does, as well as giving us 4 seconds of mobilization and root, or no, well yes, root, but slow immunity for 4 seconds, so this lets us really just press the button and get on the gas if we want to. Very nice for keeping us mobile and in the fight, or out of the fight if we don't want to be in the fight. Now I have on Camouflaged Hunter. We are using this for several reasons. 1 is the crit chance, 2 is the Minor Berserk, and 3 is the Stealth Detect, and 4 is the fact that we are stacking as much spell damage as possible, and every time we have a Fighter's Guild ability slotted, we get an extra 3% spell damage. Altogether we have 3, so we're getting 9% spell damage, and that's quite a lot. Now for my stun, I'm using Turn Evil. You can, of course, use Binding Javelin if you want, but I don't like the single target focus of Javelin, and I like the fact that this is a nice big AoE that can get several people off of you at the same time and just give you some breathing room if you really, really need it. It's quite expensive, so don't go spamming it, but it is a lot more useful than Binding Javelin. Binding Javelin is great for one person. If you're going to be dueling, put on Binding Javelin, but if you are going to be in open world PvP or in Battlegrounds or in Imperial City, you want to be able to deal with multiple targets. That's what this build is all about. This is the best thing for that. Next, we're using Caltrops. This is a AoE dot on the ground. It is also a 50% snare, so it's great at letting us once again utilize our movement speed and keep other people slow. Very nice. And most importantly, it gives us Major Breach to every enemy that takes damage from it, which is the big ticket here because it'll make our big boomy damage time that much more big boomy. Then of course we have Jabs. You guys know what this does. This is an AoE pokey ability, does a lot of damage. This thing tooltips for 6k, fully buffed on this build, and it hurts. Pretty straightforward. You press the button, things die. Then, this one is where I'm going to get some funny looks. I'm still using Dawnbreaker of Smiting on my Stamina Templar. I know most Stamina Templars are using Crescent Sweep. They are both totally valid, but let me explain to you why I like Dawnbreaker, specifically on the way I have been running this build. A few reasons. 2 of those reasons are here in the Fighters Guild passives. 1, that extra 3% spell damage for having it slotted, so that makes everything hit harder. And 2, it does 10% more damage to vampires and werewolves. The amount of players that are playing as vampires right now is ridiculous, so 9 times out of 10, you're going to be doing 10% extra damage with this thing. Now, another big reason that I like it is the dot on it. The dot on this thing is incredibly potent, okay? Fully buffed, I believe this thing is about 27-28k on my build, and it really, really hurts if you land it, and I'm pretty sure the first tick of the dot takes place either instantly or within like 0.5 seconds or something of the ultimate landing, so it does make it kind of bursty in that way. Some people like the dot on Crescent Sweep better, because it follows you instead of stays on the target and it cannot be cleansed, but I think the dot on Dawnbreaker is just a little more powerful, and it is very impressive to watch that tick every second and apply ridiculous pressure to the people that you hit. It also cannot be blocked, and I'm fairly positive the Crescent Sweep dot can be blocked, so this is nice to have. Now the last thing, and the most important thing about this, is it is a big conal stun. I like that it is a stun, okay? Because when you hit multiple people with this thing, they will all be flat on their ass. They cannot react to everything as fast as they would if you were to crescent sweep them. They'll see that crescent sweep, they'll take damage, they're going to start blocking, they're going to start dodge rolling, they're going to start healing. But if you hit them with the Dawnbreaker first and immediately go into your jabs, you're going to get a lot more free damage in a lot quicker, and also you'll get people off of you because they will be stunned. They will not be hitting you, and you will have a better offensive window with Dawnbreaker. You'll have less consistent pressure like you would with Crescent Sweep, but you'll have better burst windows. So both are totally valid, and you can use whatever you want. That's just my argument for Dawnbreaker and why I am using it. Pick what you think fits you better. If you want to duel on this build, just throw on Purifying Light here, throw on Javelin here, and you can honestly drop Honor the Dead for Pierce Armor, or fucking keep Honor the Dead, really up to you, but the penetration is nice. And there you go. You can just swap those in real quick if you just want to screw around in town and duel people. Get the burst from this, unblockable stun from this, pierce from this. Just thought I'd throw that in there because people like to ask that sometimes. And it's nice to have some skills that you can duel with if you want to. Now that is it for the skills. Let's talk about champion points. Green Tree, the only three that matter: Gifted Rider, Warmount, and Steed's Blessing. Pretty sure there's one for a food somewhere. This is for drinks. I'm not using drinks, but I have it active for some reason. Maybe there's not one for food. But yeah, those are the three that you want. In the blue tree, we have Master at Arms and Biting Aura. This is going to make our jabs and our Dawnbreaker's initial hit both do 20% more damage and increase the damage of the Caltrops AoE, as well as... Actually, there is nothing else. We only have 3 damage abilities on this entire build. So, there you go. That's it. Very straightforward. And then I'm using Ironclad and Duelist for buff. This is our mitigation here. 20% mitigation to single target attacks, and 10% towards the AoE direct damage stuff. So this is great for dealing with Nightblade gankers, for Sorks that are peppering you with curses, frags, endless furies, all that stuff. Snipers, people hitting you from range. You could go with the AoE mitigation if you feel like that's more important to you, but I don't. I like single target mitigation because this also reduces the damage of dots, so this is going to help you against mag decays and whatnot as well without putting points into dot mitigation. So that's why I use single target. If you want to use healing CP, you totally can. I would drop the single target mitigation, keep the direct damage mitigation, and put on focused mending. I've just found it to be more useful to take less damage than to heal more, because we already heal so much. I feel like it's better to just not have to heal as often. That's a preference thing. You do what you want. That's just how I feel about it. And then, of course, just fill in whatever passives you can. The most important passives here that you can get are the ones on the right side of this little mini tree here. You don't need any of this stuff on the left. We're not using it, so don't bother. Just get the stuff on the right here. You want that. And the extra crit might be nice too, just a little bit. But that's up to you. If you don't have the CP to put points into everything, then don't. If you do, then do. Everything in here is also quite nice, by the way. This is all healing and defense. So, yeah. Now, over here in the red tree, we have on Boundless Vitality, 1400 extra health. If you don't think you need that, you can mix it around and put it into something else. I've tried Fortified just to get some more stats. I don't think it's as good as any of the direct mitigation passives, but it's definitely viable. But I'm not using it. I like the extra health. It makes us tankier in a way. Then I have on Sustained by Suffering. I like this because of the extra sustain it provides for both my stam and magic. Gives us about 1800 total stamina recovery, which is really good, and about 1500 total magic recovery, again, really good. If you don't think you need that additional sustain, throw on Pain's Refuge for more mitigation. It'll be really nice. If you have on Pain's Refuge and you have on Fortified instead of the health, then you'll just take a lot less damage a lot more often. But I like the sustain a little bit better. Then we have on Relentlessness. This gives us 10% damage mitigation when we get stunned. That means anytime they are opening up to deal damage to us, they'll deal less damage, so we'll catch less of an ass beating. I would not take that off for the world. Another one I would not take off for the world is Celerity, because again, we are stacking movement speed. We like to go fast in these streets. I don't know. Anyway, you want this. Don't get rid of that. priority passives here, you want the health one. You definitely want Piercing Gaze. This is going to help you find Night Blades a lot more efficiently. You want this on every single build. Don't let anybody tell you differently. I don't really care about everything else, I guess. Yeah, no, it's not really all that important. The sustain ones, just fill in what you can, guys. I don't really know what to say when it comes to CP anymore. Just get the shit you can get. And if you can't get any, well, I'm sorry to say that I don't know what to tell you. Lastly, let's take a look at consumables. When it comes to food, guys, I am using Orzorga's Smoked Bear Haunch because it gives us a good bit of max health and stamina and magic recovery, and also I'm not a werewolf, or I mean, I'm not a vampire, so I do have health recovery active, so just getting that extra bit of health recovery is just a tiny bit of additional free healing. Very nice. However, this is very expensive if you do not want to dish out the dough for it. You can pick up some Jewels of Misrule, very similar stats, just barely different, maybe, what, just about 400 less health and 12 less recovery. So these are super cheap. You can find these for barely anything in most stores. Pick you up some if you don't want to pay for this. You'll be good to go. When it comes to potions, we've got Tri-Stat Potions. This is the primary pot that I spam on this build because my magic as sustain is very important to me. But you can also use health, stamina, and movability potions. I don't have any in my inventory, but they are very good, so it'd be nice to hold on to some of those as well. And then I also have Essence of Immovability. This gives me knockback immunity as well as stealth detection. We want detect pots because there's so many Night Blades, and sometimes our jabs and our Expert Hunter are not enough to hunt them down, so this really helps. It also gives us back some stamina, keeps our sustain up. When it comes to poison, just want to touch on this real quick. I'm using the Drain Health Poison. This applies 2 dots and gives us 2 hots, so if you're on your back bar doing heavy attacks trying to sustain, you may get a little bit of extra healing from this, and it's very nice. And yeah, that's it for the build. I just want to go over some quick tips for how to play it, both offensively and defensively, for you guys who are not able to piece it together yourself, or you're new to Stamplar, or new to PvP in general. So, most important thing, when you're going into any fight, let's pretend this is a bad guy. He's a big old stinky boy, big stinky stinker. First thing you want to do always is going to be buff up, so you're going to want to get your momentum up, you're going to want to drop your circles. And another one at the beginning of a fight, you'll probably want to use Living Dark as well, because that again gives us the passive from Dawn's Wrath, giving us 10% more spell damage, and we want to keep that up for the sake of our heals and whatnot. So do all of that. Primary thing for Stamplar, or Templar in general, is when you are fighting people, you want to be inside your safe space, okay? You're going to want to throw this down no matter where you are. You do not want to fight outside of this. If you are outside of this, you are doing a no-no. Do not do it. You want to keep your rune inside of this circle, somewhere, at all times. And always remember where your rune is, because the heal over time on this rune is very strong, and you want to be able to hop into this rune if you need a little bit of extra healing. You can kite around it, of course, but naturally make your way back to it when you feel a little bit of pressure. You could also just drop the rune wherever you are. If you need to kite real quick, drop it, move your house around, do what you need to do, but you want to turtle up inside your rune if you can. If you've got 7 people on you right now, you drop the rune, drop the cleanse, hold block, vigor first, because it's a better heal than Living Dark, or at least it will be when the patch goes through, and then Living Dark, in that order. If you are very low on health, hit and honor the dead, but like I said before, that is a last resort. If you have 8 people hitting you in the ass and you fucking need to move, you do a quick forward momentum, dodge roll cast and honor the dead, and just zoom, get out of there, alright? That's what you do. You're quick, you move very fast on this build, just reposition, re-throw your house back down when you're ready to turn around and attack people, and you're good to go. Now let's talk about offense on this build. Some people that play Stamplar, they see no power of the light, they don't know what to do. You don't need it. It's not necessary. All you need is your jabs and your ultimate, and you will kill people. Let's talk about it. So, let's say that, again, this is a bad guy. We're going to start our fight. Again, like I said, buff up first. When it is time to go on the offense, you are going to want to make sure all of your heals are activated first. So, Vigor and then Living Dark. If you are going on an offensive heal, it's slightly better to Living Dark first and then Vigor because of how long they last. That's just, you know, small min-maxing stuff. You don't have to worry about it too much, but if you want to get the best uptime on your heals, Living Dark, Vigor, pop the pot, go on to the other bar, and start jabbing. Very simple, very straightforward. Also, make sure your caltrops are down. Don't be a dummy. I'm a dummy, my caltrops weren't down. You want this to be down wherever you are fighting. When you are throwing down in your circles, caltrops should be one of those circles. That makes anyone that is inside of it much slower and take much more damage, so that allows you to have that nice kite ability, and it's really, really awesome to have that, because you want to be able to move freely, and you don't want them to be able to move freely. It's funny how that works, I know. Now, the main playstyle that I have when it comes to this build is more so as a kite, dump, repeat kind of build. We're not going to be up in people's faces doing the damage to them. We want them to come to us, and we want to punish them for that. So typically what I'll do is I'll get in here, I'll do some jabs, I'll piss people off, then all of a sudden the bee's nest is going to get a little shaken up, they're going to get mad at you, they're going to want to come kill you. So now we've got 5 guys on me. Typically what I'll do is, depending on how many are on me, I'm just going to pop them off me there with a quick turn evil, and then we're going to look for something to get behind, or a nice tight crevice to squeeze in between, because that's how we are going to get the most out of our offense on this build. Let me build an ultimate real quick, just so I can show. So we're going to use that pillar right there as a focal point here. We've got the group's attention, and now we need to move. We've found our space that we are going to decide to attack them. We're going to move in that direction. We're going to make sure to keep our buffs up. As we come closer, we're going to pre-caltrop the area, because that's where we are making our stand. So the caltrops are there. We come around the corner, drop the house down real quick, get all the buffs up, pop the pot, and then as they come around the corner, wind up a heavy attack into a Dawnbreaker and start jabbing. That is it. That will be enough damage. If you have a Vatishran two-handed proc ready, that will also go off. You'll get a lot of burst up front on the 3, 4, 5 people that come around that corner, and you will probably kill 1 or 2 of them before they even realize what is going on. Now, another small thing that I want to tell you guys about this build, and about any Stamina Templar build or Templar build that is using a two-handed weapon, especially if that two-handed weapon is using a weapon damage enchant. Light attack weaving, your jabs, is a damage loss. You want to open with a light or heavy attack, and then just jab until your weapon damage enchant runs out. Probably best to stop at that point. You can keep going if you want to or need to, but if you are to do light attacks in between each jab, it actually slows down your damage and does less over time. You get less damage in a longer window, and it's not as effective. Now, is that the same with dual wield? I don't know. I'll test it. I'll be doing a video on that sooner or later. But just keep in mind that light attack weaving every jab is a damage loss on this build. You only want to open with a light or heavy attack to begin your ultimate generation and proc your enchant. After that, you just start poking. Once every 10 seconds, you can do another light attack to get your weapon damage enchant back up, but you don't need to light attack weave every jab like you would on, say, a Nightblade or something else that is using a single target burst attack. It's not the same. Completely different. The way it works in the game just doesn't allow for nice, consistent, clean weaving, and you're going to suffer if you light attack weave them all. So, heavy attack, and then just jab. It's that simple. Same thing, same combo with the Dawnbreaker up. We'll get our ultimate here. We'll build up a Vatishran. We're gonna get that Vatishran up to 10. You see we've got 10 stacks of Vatishran. Let's get a nice debuff here. Heavy attack. There's the Vatishran stack. The Vatishran blow up with the Dawnbreaker into the jabs. Now our buffs are gone. It's time to get back on the kite and move. Did people die? Maybe. Did they not die? Who fucking knows? If they didn't die, run away. If they're all scurrying around like chickens with their head cut off, chase them around with the jabs, poke them between the cheeks, and put them down. And that's it, guys. That's all you need to know for how to play this build. That's all the information. You've got everything you need to succeed If you guys like the build, if you're going to try it, let me know down in the comments. If you didn't like it, let me know down in the comments. If you want to call me stupid, feel free to. Give any feedback you want to give, doesn't matter. Let's talk, let's chat. Hope you guys are having a great day today. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here now that this is done. I love you. Kuro out. Bye. Mwah.